Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Ask the Experts Microsoft Teams edition here at Microsoft Ignite. We've had a ton of great announcements today. Some amazing speakers, starting with Satya and going through Jared Spataro and Nicole and so many other folks. But we know you get a lot of questions, and this is going to be one of your first chances to ask a bunch of those. So as I take a look here at my slides, I'm here and I have invited Daryl Webster to join me. Daryl, take a moment and say hi and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Stephen. Good to join everyone today, and I can already see some great questions flooding into the Q&A. I'm based over in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm in the adoption and change management space. I'm looking forward to working with the wonderful experts we have here on the panel.
And Daryl is a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, or MVP, because we love having our MVPs join us whenever we can. So a few things you saw posted earlier, our Microsoft Digital Event Code of Conduct, so please make sure that you adhere to that. How to engage. Use the chat box. Ask us your questions. You can post them anonymously or use your name. Then goes into a queue. Different folks will take a look at those. We'll have some of our experts answer live and on camera for you. Some of those I'll answer. Some will get typed in. We'll try to get to as many of these questions as we can. Session is recorded, so try not to spam our chat too much. We want to get to all the questions that we can and go through that. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing. So and we're going to start jumping into questions. So let's see what we got. We have a lot of attendees in the room, which is awesome. So let's do this. Hey, we had a question on private channels. So I'm going to let Roshan go ahead and answer that one. Roshan, you want to come up on camera and answer that one, as well as the question for Teams Connect? That would be awesome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Tell us your role here at Microsoft.
Thanks, Stephen. So yeah, I'm Roshan Lal Ramesh, and I'm a product lead for Teams Core Collaboration, leading the core channel experiences, including the Teams Connect shared channels that Satya, Jared announced today, and private channels and other Teams and channels experiences as well. So let me get to the first question, which was coming from, I believe, Pam, and she was asking about managing the site collections associated with private channels, specifically around it was not visible in the SharePoint Admin Center. So taking a step back, both private channels and the upcoming shared channels as a part of Teams Connect have their own site collections dedicated, which is separate from the team site collection. Our general recommendation is that you would not have to govern those independently unless you have specific governance scenarios around the site collection. Because the team and channel, all of the lifecycle and the governance mechanisms of the site is tied to the team and the channel. The site has the same sensitivity label or the classification label. If you use that, membership is synced to be exactly the same. So the two things to do there is, first thing is, if you are managing the team and the channel, that will automatically take care of the site collection as well. If you do want to perform specific actions on the site collection, let's say manage the quota or something similar, you can actually use the specific template, which is team channel hash one, the template, and it's in the Teams public documentation. You can use that to actually use PowerShell and use that template to govern. And I am also really excited to announce that we have been working together with our friends on the SharePoint side, and you will see that a lot of these channel connected sites are going to show up in the SharePoint Admin Center. So you will be able to view these site collections in the SharePoint Admin Center as well, coming soon. There was a second question with regards to Teams Connect, and that was regarding the joining the preview for Teams Connect. So Teams Connect Shared Channels is in private preview right now with a select set of customers. And as announced earlier today, it would be coming to public preview in the first quarter of the next calendar year. So please do look forward to that, at which point everybody can try out Teams Connect as a part of the public preview. Over to you, Stephen.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have so many questions. Daryl, anything to add to that before I jump to our next question?
No, I thought that maybe we could take a look at this question on meeting organizer permissions. Mike wants to know if meeting organizer permissions can be transferred or deferred to another user within a meeting or live event feature. Now, I know there are some features coming to help cover this role, but I think we have an expert on the panel that can take us a bit deeper into that. Amber, I think.
Amber, do you want to grab that question for us? Come on camera and join us.
Yeah, happy to answer it. Yes, so CoOrganizer works in that you can actually enable up to 10 different co-organizers on a meeting or a webinar. So taking organizers, presenters, and being able to designate and giving them a lot of the same capabilities and permissions, just as an organizer would be able to do, you know, in terms of just overall kind of managing the meeting end to end.
Awesome. Thank you. We have a question on the preview for Teams Connect. We have a variety of preview programs. We have both an insider and then we have some other programs. So we'll put some links up to all of our different Teams preview programs so that we can make sure that you get in. Take a look at our chat. See who's taking questions here. What functionality is available in Microsoft Teams to support a 24/7 call center for a government agency? Previously using Skype for Business, currently Government Community Cloud. Lars, do you want to take that question or pass it off to someone on your team?
One of the important things that we announced at Ignite just today was the ability for Microsoft to be entering the first-party contact center business over the course of the next several months. And so I'm going to pass that one over to Pete Tederko, who is live on video.
Hey, Pete.
Hey everyone. So yeah, just like Lars mentioned, I think there's a few approaches that we're taking on the contact center front. The first is just like Lars mentioned, that we're excited to announce that Dynamics 365 customer service is expanding into that all-in-one digital contact center solution. I'd also say, however, though, that we do want to meet our customers where they're at. We have a pretty robust portfolio of third-party contact center solutions that have not only interact and integrate with Teams, but also have gone through a robust certification process. So you can feel very confident using kind of any of those solutions that have gone through the certification process. There's 8 that have already completed it. There are a few more that are going to be coming next quarter, but there's also 12 that are in the pipeline overall, and we continue to see interest in that. Expanding that and making that service available to via more contact center solution providers.
Awesome.
So and I'll add the link to the full list of partners that have actually participated in the program as well.
That sounds great. Perfect. There's a great question here. Thanks, Pete. From Tim Jar, and he writes, I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I've used Teams at a previous job, but only within IT department there. We're getting ready to roll out org-wide at my current job. What would you say are the 1 or 2 most important things you tell us based on your experience and knowledge? And I love this question. I will point out we have an amazing roundtable coming up in an hour or so with Lego, Polaris, one of the partners who deployed Teams to the U.S. Army and Department of Justice, from one of our partners who worked with the state of Rhode Island. And we're going to be talking about just that. So it'll be great to hear from some customers. For me, the one thing that I keep stressing is that you make adoption your step before deployment. That if you've not set up change champions, if you don't understand why people need to change, what their job is and how this will affect them, if you haven't set up your training portals, and if people don't understand why they're making this change, no matter how great a job you do at deployment, it's just not going to get that uptake that you want. So you really want to look at adoption. We have a great site called adoption.microsoft.com. We have a whole section inside of Docs on adoption that digs into this, and we've actually done several shows on it. Daryl, what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I would just add definitely that you want to involve as many people as a sample as possible across the organization to get a sense of how Teams would be used in their environment. It's one thing to push it out and say, here we go, here's everything that it can do, but where you can align it with 1 or 2 things that really solve their problems in their day-to-day collaboration, then you're going to find some affinity there and people will really adopt it.
Yeah, awesome. Any plans for webinar registration to have more of a security side, actually being able to block people from attending? Amber, this sounds like another good question for you if you'd like to take it.
Yeah, great question. I'll just say we continue to innovate on webinars and bring more capabilities. I totally understand the need for more security enhancements. At this time, we don't have any additional details to share, but would just say stay tuned because, like I said, we continue to innovate and deliver in this space.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Daryl. You wanted to talk a little bit about the tags question from Matthew.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take that one.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Matthew. I agree, right? The tags are fantastic for having those side conversations inside a Microsoft team when you don't necessarily want to address the whole team or a whole channel. But you're right, there are some tricky things about managing them if you're wanting to take the same group of people and use that as another tag group in another team. I don't know if you have an expert here that can comment on that, but I know today it is still a manual job to set up those tags again in the second team if you need to.
Yeah. Does anybody want to add anything to that from our side? If not, I'm going to go on to the SIP gateway question and have Renee come in and answer that one. All right, we'll go to the SIP gateway question. Renee, do you want to come in and talk a little bit about SIP gateway and the question that you got?
Yes, so SIP that is really soon, on early December, will be able to take your legacy hardware and just convert them with the SIP protocol into Teams devices. So the value is really replacements of existing legacy devices transformed into Teams actual devices, and will be also being able to manage through the Team Admin Center. So just stay tuned. It's coming on early December.
Perfect. Thank you. Peter asked the question, what is your opinion about managing Teams permissions in the SharePoint site versus Teams itself? That's a great question, and it really is, where do your employees live? If your employees are still very deeply entrenched in SharePoint, doing a lot in SharePoint, then it makes sense to start that there and work its way down. But if you are deep into Teams, it's going to be easier to manage in Teams, especially if you're working with external users that are coming in, because then you're really setting it up once and extending it. So, Daryl, what would you like to add on?
Sorry, I was focused on another question.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah. No, I think I would recommend definitely sticking with the key permissions that are set up for the team. I know some have the tendency to want to tweak a few things, stop inheritance. That gets a bit tricky, right? So yeah. just make sure that, like, I think one great thing that has been introduced recently, if you want to share an individual document into a Teams chat, it's going to prompt you and say, do you want to change the permissions to share it with a specific person or the whole org? So let Teams guide you, but only go into SharePoint permissions if you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. It can become quite the sticky wicket. Plus, it's nice when it says, hey, you've shared this with everybody, but you have some external users that won't be able to view this. So getting your documents, getting your content into the cloud, into SharePoint for your shares, OneDrive for your individual content is going to help to make that considerably easier. We have a few questions coming up on third-party apps, so I thought that's a great opportunity to bring in Oren to talk a little bit about the new third-party app program. I know that we've had a bunch of questions on security in those. How do we secure these? Is there going to be a standard? So why don't you take a moment and talk about the new standardization that we're going to be doing around app compliance?
Sure, thanks, Stephen. My name's Orion. I work on the Microsoft 365 App Compliance Program, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it. So the App Compliance Program really has two parts to it. The first part is publisher verification, where we verify a publisher's authenticity. So that means when you go to grant a publisher access to its data, you know that it is the publisher that you think it is and not someone fraudulently trying to gain access to your data. The second piece is the Microsoft 365 certification. The certification has two pieces to it. The first part is an attestation. And the attestation is really where we have the publisher answer a questionnaire about different security and compliance attributes. And we then surface and publish this information for use at customers' discretion to try to learn more about an app without having to go and request information directly from the developer. The second piece is the certification, and the certification is where we conduct a rigorous audit of the app as well as its supporting infrastructure against a series of Microsoft designed security controls that are derived from industry best security frameworks. And once the ISV and the app has gone through and passed each of these controls, we do award a certification badge, which is visible within our app within our storefronts, marketplaces, as well as admin portals that you can use to distinguish apps that are trustworthy. So if you want to learn more about the program, the best place to probably go is aka.ms/app certification.
All right, sounds great. No, appreciate it. Daryl, you wanted to take a question that you saw from Sam. Why don't you go ahead and take that one?
Yeah, Sam's interested in knowing about the limit to how many files you can move at a time within a team. And I know what he's meaning, that we have our files tab, we want to shuffle a few files around into a different folder. We can only select 10 and move at once. So I'm not sure if this limit is being raised. Is there an expert on the panel that might be able to comment about this, or should they be doing this from SharePoint if they want to do more than 10 files at a time?
A really great question. Does anybody from our end have a good answer for that one? Not, is that something we'll line?
Yeah, if not, I do recommend using SharePoint to do more than 10 files at a time. There's also the option to shift things around in whole folders, so that's another option too. But I think that the 10 files at a time in Teams is a convenient thing. Maybe that limit will be raised if we, hey, how about we drop that request into that new feedback portal?
Yeah, exactly, which I will have a link for at the end of the show too. Good question here. How can you talk about the future of Teams and outside vendors, connecting with them with our internal sites securely? We have 3 or 4 ways that we have either talked about or already announced to do that. I'd love to have one of our experts jump in on this one as well. But you can, of course, use Azure B2B as a good way to authenticate those users and bring them in. You can also use Teams Connect. Teams Connect can allow you just to connect to those outside users and bring them into just a team or into a private channel within that team if you choose to do so. The great thing is you're sandboxing them once they get into those areas. The other thing we've seen folks do is to bring Yammer in as a tool to connect with a variety of external people, but keep them all within that space. So that's 3 ways right there. Daryl, do you have anything to add to that? And I would love for one of our own internal folks that's a little more familiar with some of the new announcements today. That would be great.
I think I'll leave that one open for someone else to comment. I did get caught up on another question there.
Yeah, go for it. That's fine. We have a few people who are agreeing to answer, but go ahead and do yours and we'll come back to that one in a minute.
Sure, yeah. Well, this question is about the Teams Connect and shared Teams experience and what is it like for a guest? And the question from H. Lee is, do they then need to org switch to get to that shared channel? And look, H. Lee, look, this is the beauty of a Teams Connect or shared channel is you don't have to. Through the setup that you can create, the relationship between your 2 organizations, it means that they can stay within the channel wherever that has been brought into a team within their own environment. And that's really going a long way to reducing the friction for a collaboration with your external partners.
Yeah. Ivan asked, when will it be possible to have Planner in private channels? Roshan, do you want to take that one? I know that we don't have a timeline right now, but I think it'd be great if folks would love to talk to that and kind of what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely. We are working together, the Planner team, to actually figure out a timeline for when we will have Planner support. Right now, it's not, and we don't have a timeline to share. As many of you are aware, Planner is tied to the M365 group that is backing the team. So we want to make sure that when we bring Planner to private channels, the audience of the plan is actually scoped to the audience of the private channel. We do not want that information to be broader than that to the entire team, which is the reason it's taking longer. And to look forward to more on this front in future.
Perfect. Stay here because Frederick asked, can we set a sensitivity label on Teams and their associated SharePoint sites when we provision them?
Absolutely. You can set sensitivity labels on Teams and the M365 groups today. And when whatever sensitivity label you apply on the team gets applied to all of the group connected resources, including the SharePoint site. And not just that, with the upcoming Teams Connect shared channels as well as private channels today, whatever label is applied to the team is automatically inherited by the channel and the associated site collection as well. So you can continue to govern at the team or the M365 group level, and all of the underlying channels and the site collections, if needed for the private and Teams Connect shared channels within them, would inherit the same sensitivity label automatically.
Awesome. Thank you. Noga, I'd like you to bring you in to answer this one. Michael asked a great question that I know a lot of folks have, and that is, I don't get it. MS Teams Connect. Can you elaborate a bit on what it is all about? Is this ad hoc adding external participants? So you are the absolute best person. So take a moment and kind of walk through Teams Connect and what that means for folks.
Yeah, so I would think about Teams Connect as your ability to collaborate with external partners. So Teams Connect is really our umbrella term to tell you, hey, now we're going to have new capabilities like, for example, shared channels, like shared teams and like shared, which is guest access, and like shared chat, which is your ability to chat with others. And so specifically what's unique about capabilities like shared channels is that they're going to be completely seamless, meaning that these new channels that are shared with external organizations are going to be just alongside the regular teams and channels, the private one and the standard one, and you will be able to just see them seamlessly in the same place. No need to switch tenants or swap accounts. Everything is in the same place. This is though based on federation and on having trust between the organizations. So I would say that these are between organizations that trust in one another versus the ad hocs one. And for the ad hocs one, this is where more guest access type of solutions are going to be the best for people to just sign up with whatever account they have, and they will be able to do that. But when you're looking for this like fruitful ability to work with another organization over a longer term, this is exactly the tool for you to make it completely seamless for you to work with trusted partners.
Awesome. Do you have another favorite question that you've been looking at, Noga, in the chat before we move on to somebody else? Because if there's one you really like or want to make sure that everybody's aware of, I'd love to give you the moment to chat about it. There may not be it because we have so many questions coming in, and we apologize. We are not going to be able to get to them all, but we're going to do our best to answer some of the key ones.
Let me take another look at that and
Great. Come on back in a minute. That's fine. Daryl, I know you had one, so
I do. Yep. So Kimberly Bugby is interested in when annotation for Teams is coming, and I think Kimberly, you're meaning when let's say I'm trying to help Stephen and show him how to use Teams. And he's sharing his desktop, and I want to circle. Yeah, I lost cause. I'll circle something and say that's the button that I want you to push, Stephen. So that I know is a requested feature. I can't really comment on whether or when it's going to be coming, but I have heard something in the pipeline.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're certainly looking at, and we have so much engineering resources and trying to prioritize what's going to be most important and have the biggest impact. And that's where our new version of user voice is going to be so critical in here. And in fact, Joel asked, when you have an issue you really need to get in front of a Microsoft product team, is there a way to get to them quickly without spending 2 weeks trying to convince support that this is something that's going to be happening? And I'd love to have some other folks answer this as well. But my whole thing is go to our tech community. Our tech community is a great place to post a question because we have thousands of engineers, MVPs, and real world experts that are in there answering questions for other folks. And the chances are, if you've run into an issue, other people have too, and they are going to go, hey, here's how I solved that, or here's the workaround. And our engineering team does spend a good amount of time inside of tech community looking at the questions there. Daryl, do you have any thoughts beyond that on?
No, I like now that the feedback portal is directly piped into Microsoft, and you're dog fooding the platform that you're also selling your customers as well. So feel more confident that these requests and these suggestions are going to be answered by the people that make the software.
I agree. Yeah. Can we post directly from within Teams webinar event create to social media platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter? Amber, I'm going to come back to you see if you can answer that.
Yeah, great question. So actually last month we announced that Teams webinars will be able to stream directly to LinkedIn. That will GA actually in early 2022, so more to come there. And we know that there's and ask as relevant in the question in terms of just broader kind of social networks. So we're continuing to innovate more there, and so stay tuned for more details to come.
Awesome, thank you. Lars, this one's for you. Dominic asked the question about live events, external presenter participation, and all of the different things that it requires, and that it's a little stressful. And are we going to plan to reduce the overhead to join these meetings for external presenters? I know Lars had an issue with his machine, so I hope he's back, but he did type in the answer. Oh, Lars, are you back? You are back.
Yeah.
Yay,
I mean,
welcome back.
And Amber was there too, just on talking about a very popular topic today on webinar. I would just say continue to watch what we talk about with respect to webinar new innovation. We announced several new features today that Amber just spoke about, including a new Q&A experience, including the ability to share host controls across a number of people for co-orchestration. The real innovation is going into Teams webinar. Of course, we want to continue to support the scale of TLE, and that is a great and relied on experience, but watch for our webinar innovation list. I don't know if you want to add to that, Amber.
I was just going to say, I know there's a question asking around when a lot of the webinar features are going to be available for general use. And so one, you heard Stephen talk more about our great tech community blog. We actually posted a blog there this morning that has all the details, but I'll just quickly recap. Both the Green Room and the Manage What Attendees See view will be previewing in early 2022. The CoOrganizer capability is actually going to be generally available by the end of the year. And the Q&A experience is in public preview this month. So encourage you all to try out those capabilities as soon as they become available.
Awesome. And we love the dogs because you're working at home, and that's just fine. So that's great. I have one last short question I'm going to answer because we're running out of time, and that is, how do you get people to stop sending emails and start using Teams? And I don't think those are mutually exclusive. Number one, I'll tell you, come to my roundtable session where you can ask Lego and Polaris and other companies how they do it. But I think what many companies are finding is emails are still going to stay, and there are many important things that emails still need to do. But with so many generations of workers, there are certain things that make more sense as a chat or posting to everyone within the team. So it's not that Teams is going to take over Outlook. It's we're going to see how you communicate and what you're communicating about, which platform makes the most sense to reach your audience. Gerald, what are your thoughts there before I go to some final closing slides?
I agree that it's definitely still a place for email, and certainly for expanding and communicating with the outer world. What I would target is the behavior that some people use email like it as chat, right? So just circle your sort of activity that you might want to target and sort of a change campaign, and help people to see maybe it's better to have that open conversation in a more fluid space.
If you've gone back and forth 4 times with one person on an email, that probably should have been a chat because it would have gotten that answered much more quickly, much more easily. And remember, it's very easy to add someone to that. And what's great is now you've done it, you're moving on, as opposed to an email, which is, hey, here's some big changes coming up, things that people want to keep. But that also, if it's affecting just your team, should probably be in the team. If it's affecting a variety of folks, then an email makes sense. Think about what you're doing and where to put that. But like I said, I think that is a great question for our experts a little bit later. Let me go back to our PowerPoint here really quick. So a few links, and we will put these here in chat as well. Hang on, I have the little thumbnail. I want to go to the bigger one. There we go. Our adoption.microsoft.com site, of course, my show, aka.ms, Inside Microsoft Teams, where we sit down and talk with customers and discuss how they're dealing with many of these things. Our Docs platform, all the great stuff on Tech Community where you can connect to people who are using this product every day in our engineering teams. Our roadmap where you can see what's being released when, and our new user voice platform, aka.ms/Teams feedback. We do have another Ask the Expert session tomorrow, but we also have a whole day coming up very soon on November 9th, completely dedicated to your questions. Matter of fact, we're going to break it down. Our first hour, these are Pacific Standard Times, will be on security and governance. We'll then spend an hour on Teams Phone, an hour on Teams Rooms and Devices, and myself and Kirawana Gatimu will sit down and talk about driving Microsoft Teams adoption. So that's 4 full hours of AMAs and great stuff to be able to check out. Of course, all the team sessions you can view and you'll be able to go back and watch. So great stuff coming up. Daryl, any final thoughts before we thank everybody? And we will stay on the line to continue to answer the questions that have popped up in chat. So we will continue to stay there and do that. But Daryl, any final thoughts? Because I really appreciate you taking time out as we close things up.
Yeah, look, I think that it's good to continue to ask questions, and the place to do it really is the tech community and trying to get some answers from the true expert, which is the community itself. I mean, even all the people on this panel here today, they're focused on certain things within teams, but one single person doesn't have all the answers. So that, and I think definitely answer each other's questions. You know, where you can share your own experiences, then you're also helping to get people along the journey there with teams.
I love this. There's so much passion in the questions today. You love our product, and that's awesome to see where you're like, hey, I've got to solve this issue because it's so important to get more people on board. And we appreciate it. Hold our feet to the fire. Keep us accountable. Check out all the resources, make sure we're getting you what we need, and this is your opportunity to do it. Thanks for joining us at Ignite. You got so many more great sessions coming, so we'll look forward to seeing you at those in them. And like I said, for those, join the customer roundtable in an hour. So from Daryl and myself, thanks so much for joining us. And from all of our Microsoft engineering and product team, we appreciate all of your support and questions. We'll talk to you soon.